Welcome back to the channel. So I see the Final Four is set. We will have Georgia versus Ohio State, and we will have Michigan versus TCU. So many feel that Georgia should get by Ohio State, Michigan should get past TCU, and we will have a rematch of what was a semifinal national championship game of last year, in which the University of Georgia just dominated the University of Michigan last year. Now, it was something I took away from. Well, it was a few things I took away from this conference championship weekend, right? The usual banter of looking at the other teams that are playing for conference championships, that more so are the odds-on favorite, looking at them doing what they were supposed to do. Obviously, TCU dropped their game. USC dropped their game. USC that put them out of playoff contention. So it would have been really interesting to see what a USC team could have possibly done in the playoffs. But once we get past that of these teams are coached better and the talent and the discipline, all that. Once we get past that, it was something that I took away, and I have to ask the question, because we've been going back and forth with this throughout the entire year about the type of offense that we want to run. But is power football is it really back? Because if we look at the playoffs, well, if we look at the conference championship games, the more power-oriented team won those games. From the P5, right? I didn't watch some of the Group of Five championship games, but this year Clemson has had to take on more of a running threat due to the shortcomings of DJU at quarterback. They were able to beat the University of North Carolina, even though Cade Klubnik was able to come in the game and put the ball, toss the ball around the field a little bit. The University of Georgia, we understand what they do. Michigan, we saw what they did to Purdue. TCU and Kansas State was probably the most competitive, even though I think that Michigan and Purdue game was pretty competitive, but Michigan pulled away late. But that was a very, very competitive game. Shout out to Max Duggan for just leaving it all on the field Saturday. I mean, that was an effort, right? That was an effort. And many, I'm sure it's not up there with the Pete Carroll calling the pass play instead of giving it to Marshawn Lynch at the goal line. But that kind of put me in the mind of that, because it's like the man has got you all the way down here. I mean, the man has wheeled the team here, and the least that you should do is let him get in the gun and let him try to go win the game for you, right? But Kansas State ran the ball strong all year. Many people felt that Kansas State should have won the first game had their starting quarterback not went down, but they had some power. And Utah, obviously Caleb Williams got hurt, but we understand what it is that Utah's trying to do. So it's power football back. Obviously, you may say, Rashad, you're being so short-sighted, you're being very short-sighted, right? But there's two pieces of information that I heard. One I cannot confirm is 1,000% true, but the other one I can confirm is absolutely true. And they're both roughly saying the same thing. I was on a forum probably about 3 or 4 days ago, and they was talking about Michigan. And they were talking about, there was an excerpt from an article speaking about how Michigan has been able to run the ball. And what was interesting about it is they spoke about how, seeing that the college football game has become more pass-oriented, teams have recruited in such a way to stop the pass, right? Very few teams have the personnel to stop the pass as effective as they can stop the run. Very few teams can do that, right? Very few teams can put that type of personnel on the field. Hopefully, at the University of Miami, Mario Cristobal can help us get to that particular stage. Looking at the recruiting class right now, it seems that we have quite a few guys that look like they'll be able to do that. But the article was talking about how, seeing is that the game has gotten more pass oriented, and you are running you're getting away from your traditional 4-3, your traditional 3-4 defenses that used to be the base defense. You're now coming out in base defensive nickel. It has made it so much easier for the University of Michigan to pound teams, right? And the unconfirmed point that I heard was someone said that Alonzo Highsmith said that he's for power football for that same reason. Teams are being built now to stop the pass, and they're giving up something in the run defense department. And so, again, this is just one year in a vacuum, but like Michigan has just handled the Ohio State. Oregon was able to go up there and handle the Ohio State. Utah couldn't do it, but it will be very interesting to see because every style of offense has won a national championship. Spread has won, the triple option has run, wishbone, all that. Power football has won. So every variation of offense has won a national title. However, all this stuff kind of goes in cycles, right? It's cycles. One cycle you'll have, okay, this is the preferred offense. Another cycle, okay, this is what we need to do. Because what happens is like I'm saying, like how Bama had to change, right? How the emergence of Texas A&M, how the emergence of Ole Miss, how the emergence of what Auburn was able to do with Gus Malzahn, it forced Alabama to change the personnel that they were putting on the field. And many can look now and say, well, man, those Bama defenses are not what they used to be. Now, we could maybe say that's because Kirby Smart is no longer there, dialing it up, even though Kirby Smart was on the other side when some of those massive passing attacks were happening, right? But I feel like it's some validity to that, right? We could be in I don't know if it can last for a long period of time. I'm just speaking about right now, but that's mainly what I learned from the conference championship this week, that power football has not left the building, people. It's still here. And if either Michigan or the University of Georgia win this particular year, the Miami Hurricanes chat board will be very, very interesting. So I'm just trying to get out ahead of this. So me being casting allegiance with the spread side of things, I hope Ohio State or TCU wins. I know as a Hurricane fan, I'm not supposed to root for the Buckeyes, but I don't want to hear all offseason about, see, I told you, Mario's going to build this power run team. It's won 2 national championships. I don't want to hear. But I don't want to hear the Buckeyes win it either. So I guess in this order, I would have to go TCU and Ohio State, and then I don't know. I guess and then Georgia, because Georgia tosses it around a little bit more. Even though Michigan, the past 2 games, J.J. McCarthy has been able to throw the ball, but we understand what their bread and butter is. So I'm rooting for the Horned Frogs and the Buckeyes to win a national championship this year. Because, and you know what would be even better? What would be even better is if they play each other and I win on either side. So then if they play each other, I can go in and say, okay, I'm rooting for TCU. But I need one of them to win this game, because what I learned is that power football is back. In the last thing that I'm not Mario Cristobal. I know how he probably wants to win this, but I just can't see Georgia or Michigan hold up that trophy this year, because It's going to be interesting. But let me know what y'all think in the comments, man. Do y'all think Pirate football, I mean, obviously it's not left, right? It hasn't left the building at all. But do you feel that if you are crowning 2 back-to-back national champions, running a style of football that we feel like had kind of fallen by the wayside, does that change the outlook on how you guys look at it? I don't know. But as always, man, it's always about the you, man. Like, share, subscribe. And oh, yeah, shout out to all my new subscribers, man. I really appreciate that. Road to 200. Let's get started.